Welcome back to the show. Your man Diamond K in here, radioonfire.com, the diamondkshow.com. And of course, Radio on Fire talks to America through digital news broadcast and social media content. We are a rising platform generating over 350,000 listeners and viewers per month with our audio and video streams from politics, breaking news, celebrity info, sports talk, pop culture, and more. Radio on Fire keeps our audience covered. So, night one of the RNC, the Republican National Convention, Trump mania running wild over there. Things started off this morning in Charlotte, where the official business took place with the vote on the formal nomination of President Donald Trump. I still can't believe I'm saying that. So Monday night, the viewers heard a long list of GOP folks, sympathizers in some instances, making the case for 4 more years of Trump. South Carolina governor, former Carolina governor, and ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, Donald Trump Jr., of course, the president's oldest son, Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, and there were others. The controversial couple who pulled out weapons on Black Lives Matter protesters in Missouri. They spoke. Trump also appeared in a video with 6 people who his administration helped free after they had been taken into custody and held somewhere around the world. So a lot going on, a lot of different things that happened. There were some falsehoods, some lies, some stretching of the truth, some oversimplification of some things, a lot of stuff. Not a lot of talk about COVID-19 in actual terms. If you listen to some of these people that were talking, you would think everything was fine with regards to the pandemic. And things were uneven. On one hand, they criticized Joe Biden for being soft on crime. Then on the other hand, they blame him for the 1994 crime bill, which at the time was a bipartisan thing, right? It's kind of interesting listening to the Republicans, the tough on crime people, talk about Joe Biden and his hand in the 1994 crime bill. And the 1994 crime bill is a complicated thing. A lot of times people tend to link that to, mass incarceration. But there's context that we have to look at when we talk about the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1994, also known as the 1994 crime bill, right? Biden did help write the bill, which was signed to law by Bill Clinton. Okay. Now, people have criticized this, both sides, Republicans and Democrats, including Kamala Harris. She has said in the past that it contributed to mass incarceration, which is true. It was the most high-profile legislation to increase the number of people behind bars. It almost incentivized the building of prisons by giving money and keeping inmates incarcerated for at least 85% of their sentencing. You had 3 strike laws. You had a number of things. So this is definitely something that is not looked at favorably now. Now, prison populations began to rise back in 1973, and in the 80s, it really reached double-digit increases. It was something that was significantly building, and the 1994 crime bill was something, a track, a path that America was on. But Republicans, as I said, there was no real platform per se. There was a lot of things said. Tim Scott, I thought, gave a pretty good speech. What really stuck out, and a lot of people talking about his line that said, from cotton to Congress in one lifetime. Right? It is clear that he has aspirations beyond tonight. Maybe a vice president running or a president running. Nikki Haley, I could see that in her future, having those desires, as Donald Trump Jr. more than likely has those desires as well. Tim Scott probably gave the strongest speech of the night. So when you have a Republican National Convention in the era of a Donald Trump presidency, here's what you have. You're not changing anyone's view of Trump at this point. He's a known commodity. If you like Trump before the RNC, you're going to like Trump after. If you did not like Trump going in to the RNC, you're not going to like him going, after. But going to Tim Scott's speech, what he tried to do was tell his story, his aspirations, and it was not necessarily a negative speech when you look at it in contrast to Donald Trump Jr., who is usually the attack dog for the Trump family. And there was not a lot of focus on Trump's failed COVID-19 response. And Republicans are going to get mad when I say that. And I say failed because it is a failure. It is a failure. And Republicans want to point to travel ban to China, travel ban from Europe. Okay, both were late. And his messaging since the springtime up until now has been uneven at best. Here's the thing. This is what's so ironic. Trump makes these claims about the post office. Trump makes claims about injecting bleach. Trump makes claims about the hydroxychloroquine and various other things. Not wearing a mask, wearing a mask. The only people that listen to Trump when it comes to this are Trump supporters. The only people that are going to be affected by listening to Trump are his very own voters. Because Democrats are not listening to Trump. When this vaccine is eventually rolled out, there's been so much bad faith placed on that. People already have bad faith about vaccines, generally speaking. So when one does come out that may actually work, Trump's undermined that to the point where people are not even going to feel comfortable taking it unless you're a Trump supporter and believe everything that he says as the gospel. But otherwise, it has been a disaster. It has been. But as I said, Tim Scott, GOP's only black senator, ties his personal story to Trump's reelection. Very interesting. Do we want a society that breeds success or a culture that cancels everything, even slightly disagrees with? He said in his speech, which was notably different than the other speakers on the main stage. in that Trump was not the main focus. I think that he does have some credibility with some black people. Talk about Tim Scott, right? But Trump's path to reelection is bringing some moderates over to his side. That's going to be his path. I don't think that he's going to really, and also activating some white voters who don't normally vote. That's his path to reelection. Oh, and cheating, of course. But Tim Scott tried to deliver a speech and a pitch to black voters. Black voters who almost universally support Biden and the Democratic ticket. I see a lot of my colleagues asking about why black people support the Democrats overall. And here's the reason. The reason is that in the last few generations, the policies of both parties, when you've weighed them out, have been more effective in helping black people from the Democratic side than the Republican side. Now, does that mean that that's the way things are going to always be? No, because there was a time when that was not the case, and there was the Republican side. So it depends on who's in vogue for the party, who's got the ear of the party and controlling the direction of the party. So Republicans have been making a pitch through a lot of different things that you don't have to vote Democrat, right? And Tim Scott is one of those people who's trying to beckon black voters to the Republican Party. Scott, who is the first black senator from the South since Reconstruction. For people who don't know what that means, that is the post-Civil War time, Reconstruction. The country was destroyed, at least the South was destroyed, during the Civil War, and you had the period of rebuilding, which is referred to as Reconstruction. And Tim Scott said this: make no mistake, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want a cultural revolution, a fundamentally different America. So it's interesting that Tim Scott said this. Listening to these speakers, you think that everything was fine. Racial justice, fine. COVID-19, fine. The economy's fine because Trump's doing everything right. Listening to these speakers day one. Calling it the China virus, I call it personally the Trump virus. But calling it the China virus, not helpful, to say the least. Not helpful, right? But he does it. He does it. And a lot of times the messaging that the speakers were trying to deliver gets stepped on and are going to continue to get stepped on by the actions and the words of the president. The whole Make America Great theme has taken over the RNC. Trump's family members, they're the stars now. Of course, Donald Trump Jr. getting top billing. In 2016, 2017, many people were fearing that the Republicans might try to do something else at its convention, maybe run somebody else and oust Donald Trump. Obviously, that is not the case. At this point, Trump is the RNC. Trump has become the Republican National Convention. That's what's happening now. Many times the speakers referred to him as Mr. President, right? It was not something that we haven't seen before, where people are pledging their dying loyalty, right, to him. One sign on the podium had the Trump 2020 in large red letters, and then very small, much smaller, the GOP convention. It was very different watching this as opposed to other RNC conventions. Now, having the speakers speaking all from the same location, it was a little monotonous. It did allow for things to run smoothly, and it had more of a convention feel than, say, the DNC did last week. And the DNC tried a lot of different things, and Zoom calls, and different. They took chances. The RNC, at least on night one, felt safe. From a production standpoint, I wasn't expecting a lot. However, they did do a good job as it relates to smoothness in the way that things transitioned, and I'm interested to see whether they continue with that in subsequent nights. So Trump Jr., he was a little bit more contained than he normally is, and his rhetoric at times, let me say this. He's not a bad speaker, okay? He delivers a good speech if that's what you're into. I've seen some Republicans and Democrats that can't speak as well as he does. He speaks with confidence. He reads from the teleprompter well. But if you actually listen to the words that come out of his mouth, he said that freedom of expression used to be a liberal value, at least before the radical left took over. And you're going to often hear in these next few days Republicans continuously talking about the radical left, right? Like Bernie Sanders didn't win anything, right? AOC is a little small peon, right? The radical left has not taken over. Joe Biden is a lot of things, and radical left ain't one of them, right? But they're going to say that, and Republicans often talked about fear mongering. People saying, "Ooh, got to be scared of Trump." But Republicans are the biggest fear mongers there are. They're trying to paint this picture that the urban community is going to take over the white people's neighborhoods, and Black Lives Matter people are going to write BLM on your street and ooh, be scared. They're fear mongering big time. But Trump Jr. Implored his father's supporters to believe that the elder Trump can deliver everything that they want. The life you want to have, a perfect family, a world where the evils of communism and radical Islamic terrorism are not given a chance to spread. The younger Trump said, "You can have it." He said it 4 times in his closing passage. And while we did not have an audience, obviously, I could just see Trump supporters in their homes like, yeah, we can have it. Yeah. At this point, Trump team Trump, their anger and fear messaging has not helped the president. He's still behind in the polls. He's still way behind in the polls. Okay. Last incumbent that was this far behind in the polls was the senior George Bush. And what happened to him? He got that ass spanked by Bill Clinton. So we definitely, if history is any, well, let's say this, the senior George Bush did not have the level of and the track record of cheating to this degree, because he definitely did some cheating. Bush, he did not have this in his background, and Trump has a lot of, pardon the pun, Trump cards left to play, and they're all dirty cards. Trump's entire convention, night one and the nights to come, are going to mainly be targeted towards a specific group of voters. A specific group. Now, the more excited they are and the greater numbers in which they turn out increase his chance for re-election. And that is what they are relying on. That is what they're relying on. So they're going to sell what they have to sell, and they're trying to get their supporters to really spread the word and come out big time in support of the president. So I'm looking forward to see how this goes. Where they continue to have speakers from one place. That remains to be seen. Nikki Haley, who said in her infinite wisdom that America's not a racist country. It's ironic listening to a white woman say that. But she said it nonetheless. And that was not even the only lie told on stage tonight. But we're going to hear many more lies, because that's what you have to do in order to be a Trump supporter. When you have an economy in the shape that it is now, when you have close to 180,000 Americans dead, the worst death rate that there is in the world, when you have that and you're trying to support that guy, you have to lie, because the truth is just not going to do. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Don McKay Show, at Radio on Fire. We're going to be talking about this for the next few days as the RNC 2020, the Trumpfest, as I'm calling it, Trump mania, continues to run wild with the people that are supporting him. Of course, you could advertise your message with our engaged audience of over 350,000 listeners and viewers per month. RadioOnFire.com/advertise is where you go to get started. Of course, follow me, The Don McKay Show, on Spotify or your favorite podcast network. New shows drop daily. RadioOnFire.com, The Don McKay Show.com, and of course, you can support the program via Cash App, $DJ Don McKay. And of course, your donations help us continue to do what we do here on the Don McKay Show, and that is to bring you independent news and progressive opinion on politics, social issues, and entertainment. For booking info, media requests, contact me, DJ Don McKay, at gmail.com. And until next time, if you see it, then you can be it. It is all about having vision. My name is Don McKay. Salute to you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow.